President Obama will make his first visit to Latin America from March 19th to the 23rd. He will visit Brasilia and Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, Santiago, Chile, and San Salvador, El Salvador. In a State of the Union address, the President said he intends to forge new alliances across the Americas. Congressman Connie Mack and Congressman Elliot Engel, Chairman and ranking, respectively, of the U.S. House of Representatives Committee on Foreign Affairs, Subcommittee on Western Hemisphere, will preview the President's upcoming trip. They will also address Iran's activities and growing influence in Latin America, and recent moves by Latin American countries to support a unilateral declaration of an independent Palestinian state.
As Chairman of the Western Hemisphere Subcommittee, I want to start off by expressing my extreme discontent with Chile, Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia, Ecuador, Guyana, Peru, Paraguay, and Uruguay, and last but not least, Venezuela, for having unilaterally recognized Palestinian statehood. It is shameful that so many countries in our hemisphere have chosen such declaration. Additionally, I am outraged by the lack of leadership shown by the United States in Latin America, an area of the world where we have seen a brazen disregard for freedom. Freedom, security, prosperity matter in the United States, in Latin America, and around the world. And it is time this administration steps up to the plate to fight for our principles. Furthermore, it is unfortunate that President Obama is traveling within Latin America and is not meeting with our allies, Panama and Colombia, who are awaiting his leadership on the long-pending free trade agreements. Once again, Mr. President, the time to act is now. The time for your leadership is now.
What they're actually doing is they're making it much more difficult for there ever to be a negotiated peace agreement between Israel and the Palestinians. Because by recognizing a Palestinian state, it's a disincentive for the Palestinians to come to the table. After all, why should they come and negotiate in good faith with Israel when they can sit back, refuse to negotiate, as they've been doing, and it just drops right in their lap? These countries all recognize Palestine. So it says to the Palestinians, don't negotiate, you don't have to give up anything, and we're going to just all recognize you. So I think rather than these countries showing some kind of preference or showing that they're sympathetic to the Palestinians, what they're really doing is helping to destroy the peace process. Because let's face it, Israel is willing to sit and talk anytime, any place. That's what adversaries do if you want to hammer out an agreement. I don't care if it's a labor agreement or if it's an agreement between countries or a peace treaty or whatever. You sit down with your adversary and you hammer out an agreement.
The dangers involved with nuclear power. I think that we need to take a very earnest look at the safety to all the various plants. We obviously cannot close down all the nuclear power plants because we rely on nuclear power for much of our energy, but we need to make sure that the older plants are safer and that the siting of the plants is in a location where there is very little chance of any kind of earthquake. I think there are a number of nuclear power plants that are old and have to be reevaluated. There's one in New York called Indian Point, and I have been in favor of closing down that power plant for many years because it's old, it's located in a heavily populated area, and we need to be careful that these power plants are built in rural areas where there aren't many people, and I think that would be a boon to those areas economically, but it wouldn't put people at risk. So I think that we need not panic. I am sure that the nuclear power plants are almost all safe, but I would think we need to look at each and every one of them to make sure that's the case.
Okay, one last question, please. Coming back to Panama and Colombia trade agreements, in your own thinking, what do you think is the delay?
Well, I think there are some problems. We know what the problem with Panama. The problem involved trade. In Colombia, the problem involved the labor unions and the attacks on labor. Both countries have tried, I believe, to take care of the problem. And what we need to do is sit down, focus on those problems, try to get the countries to do a little more to satisfy some of the people who are opponents, and then we need to move forward with those agreements once everybody is satisfied. Colombia and Panama are good friends and allies of the United States, and from a geopolitical strategic point of view, I think the United States needs to work with them in every aspect, including free trade agreements.
Yeah, but your colleagues on the other side of the aisle does not seem to say that, because yesterday they said they're going to hold on any confirmation because of the delay in the Panama.
Right, right. Well, there was a theory that instead of voting on the Korea free trade agreement first, all three free trade agreements should be voted on together. And I think that's probably a good idea.
Thanks so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, viewers, for being there for us. This is My African Channel TV. We've just witnessed a program on the Israel project, where two representatives talked on the freedom, security, and peace in the Western Hemisphere. We had Representative Engel and Representative Connie. So the two representatives were talking on the need for Israel and the Palestine to be on the negotiation table together. They don't want to see a situation where only one party is on the negotiation table. So on this note, viewers, continue to stand in for us as we bring you more on My African Channel.